Hello, PAMP fans. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about the 1 ounce silver rounds PAMP released a couple months ago. So these are 1 ounce silver rounds that come in these plastic tubes of 20. There are two designs, and they are really designed for stackers. So you have your premium PAMP, and pretty much all PAMP is premium. It basically, by premium, I mean there's an added cost for high quality collectability. And even a Lady Fortuna 1 ounce bar has extra in it because you're paying for something in an assay card, and people will recognize the assay card and bar and be willing to pay a little more for it. So when you talk about low premium, in other words, cutting the cost so the product is closer to spot, that's what these are designed for. So again, there are two in all, and they come in these tubes. And I am wearing gloves because I don't want to get any, fingerprints on them, and I don't want to get the rounds to be toned. So I figure, you know what, I'll just put gloves on for this video. I'm not sure if I'm going to put these in capsules quite yet. I do have capsules for them, but it's a lot easier just to store them in these factory tubes. So this design, it's the PAMP design. About 3 years ago, there was a gold bar. That similar idea, trying to cut the premium down on it. It had a very similar design to this. I actually don't have one. Wasn't able to get one yet. And I'm not sure if I will be able to, honestly. But anyway, this one is very similar to that design in that it's just like the PAMP logo. And on the back, it's the PAMP logo again. But this one really reminds me of that 1 ounce gold bar. That's like that. It has lots of little lines. Take a close up here. I like all the little lines on there, honestly. The way the light reflects off it, it's pretty cool, even though it's such a simple design. Now, if I go even closer, if I can, you can appreciate more of the fine details. Now, along the edge, it says PAMP, really fine details, and that's supposed to be like an anti-counterfeiting measure. You notice in the bottom center there, it's like the American flag. These were actually not minted in Switzerland, but in a new mint in Florida that PAMP opened. And that was actually part of the reason why or how PAMP was able to offer these at the price they do. In other words, a lower price. Importation costs, I'm sure, add to the cost of PAMP in general. So if you're a PAMP collector like me, having everything be very premium, in other words, higher than other mints and bullion in general, collecting that for over a period of time, you have a very expensive collection, and you stepped very far away from what spot truly is. So these, for me, are perfect, and I'm sure they're perfect for a lot of people because it cuts down the cost, brings it closer to spot, so you can afford to get more metal close to the spot price. Close to spot prices possible is always great. So that's the first one. These little foams on top. And here we have the American bison. The light plays off the bison nicely. I like the blades of grass and freedom down there. So rounds, as far as PAMP products go in the United States, are relatively unusual. I do have a video I posted a while back with some rounds from Switzerland, from ice skating competition. So rounds are made by PAMP, but much less so for the US market. So these are the first rounds, especially in this concept of lots of rounds, that PAMP has made for the US. So if you're interested in rounds, I can make other videos on rounds, show you other rounds PAMP has made. But there's not honestly a lot of rounds you will see that PAMP has made, especially again for the US. So this is like the common back reverse. So one has the PAMP logo, and one has the bison. So the idea here is these will be made in bulk, so that will keep the price down nice and low. And here are my hunches about this. So one, I do expect over time, perhaps this side won't change much, but I do expect, again, I'm not sure when, and this is just my hunch, that we will see other designs besides these two in the future. How much in the future? I'm sure it'll be at least a couple years, but adding to the rounds. And is it possible we'll even see Lady Fortuna on a round here someday? Honestly, I do think it's possible. Again, that's just my speculation. No proof for that, but to see these being really successful over the course of decades now, they can't have the same exact design forever and ever and ever. I do expect certain designs will be outphased, new ones put in place, but again, not quickly. That's the whole point, is if you keep the same exact design long enough, you're not having to make as many dies to stamp them, so that keeps costs low. Now, if you make a die just to make 500 or 1,000, that brings up the cost. So again, my speculation is we will see more of these, more designs in the future, perhaps, but we're going to have to wait quite a while for that. And perhaps we'll even see Lady Fortuna, and that would be pretty sweet, actually. So for now, with just the PAMP and the bison, we're off to a great start. I do hope these do well, and even though I have tubes of 20, when time allows, honestly, this is a great product to get more for the weight. So I guess a word on weight. You usually get closer to spot the higher the weight. So if you buy a 10-ounce bar, silver bar 10 ounce, it should be closer to spot than a 10-gram bar. 10 grams going to have more premium to it. Now, if you buy a 100-ounce bar, the spot should be very close to what you're paying. Now, the problem is, who can afford 100 ounces at once? Much fewer people. And I've never had one of those, but from what I've heard, they're very challenging to sell. Because who wants to buy 100 ounces at once? Now, if you have 100 ounces of 1 ounce rounds, that should be a lot easier to sell, because pretty much everybody can afford a 1 ounce of silver. So again, these are the perfect product considering everything that's going on, and to build up your stack weight. So that's it for these 2 rounds. I look forward to your comments. Thanks for joining me today, and see you next time. Take care.